Am I blue? Am I blue? Ain't these tears in these eyes telling you? Hi everybody, Ally Waldman here. It's time for Sunday with Ally, the Barbra Streisand Videocast for January 27th, 2013, and I am singing a sad song because it's been a really crappy week. Not for Barbra, just for me. I had some kind of a strange intestinal flu or something, caused me to have terrible stomach aches and stomach pains. I wasn't even sure that I was going to be able to pull this video together today, but I am going to give it my best shot, and I'm going to try to put on a happy face, which Barbra never sang, and share some Barbra stories with you and some Barbra news with you, some scoops, and hope that the worst of my little intestinal bug is over, and that all I have to worry about next is chemotherapy in a week and a half. But let's talk Barbra, okay? Now Barbra is seemingly doing very, very well. She's making a lot of plans and a lot of stuff going on. One thing that I meant to mention, oh wait a minute, I just noticed something. I forgot to put on the extra light. Hold on a sec. Okay, does that help? Does that make it a little brighter? Oh my God. Almost 2 minutes in and I forgot to put on the extra light. Sorry folks, see, that's the kind of week I've had. Anyway, a week ago when I was giving you all the Barbra news about, Lincoln Center Society of, the Film Society is honoring her, and I mentioned, Gypsy News, and it's still on the upside, and guilt trips starting to open around the world. I forgot to mention that the Sundance Film Festival is going on. And while the film festival was going on, Robert Redford, who of course created the Sundance Film Festival, the Sundance Film Institute, was interviewed on Extra, of all things. I think it was Extra. And they asked him about working with Barbra and would he ever be interested in doing the sequel to The Way We Were, which Barbra mentioned in December when she was doing publicity for the guilt trip. Now, Redford is not big on doing sequels. He had opportunities to do a sequel to The Sting, and he turned it down. And clearly, we know for a fact that The Way We Were sequel has been floating around. Sidney Pollack worked on it, Arthur Lawrence worked on it. Barbra mentioned it. Barbra thought it was a wonderful story, but Redford never wanted to do it because he just doesn't like the idea of doing the same character in another format again. That's how he thinks. However, he did say some wonderful things about Barbra, and if you missed it, I'm going to read it to you. He said, first, let me just bring it over here. First of all, I love Barbra. I loved working with her, and I'd certainly do it again with her in a flash. Where I put my foot down is that I'm not a big fan of sequels. The Way We Were, I think, should just be left alone, but doing something again with Barbra is something I would really like. And actually, a few people speculated that maybe the right thing for them to do would be a comedy, because Redford really hasn't had a chance to do much comedy. He was in some comedies early in his career, but generally speaking, he's always thought of as more of a dramatic actor. But he was very good in Barefoot in the Park, one of the funniest movies ever. Him and Jane Fonda, Neil Simon wrote it. Very, very good movie. If you want to see young Redford pre Butch Cassidy. Oh, he was very funny in Butch Cassidy too. Anyway, rent Barefoot in the Park or buy a copy of it. I'm sure you could probably find a copy for $5 on DVD. So that's the Redford story. And to me, I would love to see them work together again. I think the chemistry would still be there, and I think it'd be really wonderful. Now, speaking of casting, James Brolin is doing a little work. As you know, he's got an upcoming bit on Community, which is on NBC. That's a sitcom. He's going to be playing Joel McHale's father. And then he's also going to be playing the father on Castle, which is an ABC drama. That's coming up in February. So Jim is staying busy. While Barbara does her stuff, Jim does his stuff. He likes to work. More power to him. Now, we know that the Lincoln Center thing is April 22nd, just 2 days before Barbara's birthday. But Barbara's made another date in April. She's going to be appearing April 13th at the MGM Grand. There's a big party there called the Power of Love Gala. And it's actually celebrating the birthdays of one of Barbara's best friends, Quincy Jones, and one of her longtime acquaintances, Michael Caine. They would both share the same birthday, and they're both going to be 80 years old. So they're putting together this whole gala, and Barbara is being listed as sort of the headliner. Also appearing are going to be, let's see, B.B. Winans, Chaka Khan, Herbie Hancock, Jordan Sparks, Terrence Howard, Patty Austin, will.i.am, and Whoopi Goldberg. I think it's safe to say that Barbara will be the headliner. And you know what? The way she's been more amenable to singing these days, I can't believe she's going to be at the MGM Grand at an event like this and not sing. It's not going to be on television. We'll probably see clips after the fact, but it's a cool thing to do. And clearly, Barbara is not resting on her laurels. She is working, working, working. Now, another thing that's very interesting coming up just a few weeks from now, actually a week and a half from now, on February 5th, Classical Barbra, the remastered Classical Barbra, is going to be released. It includes 2 extra songs, Auf dem Wasser zu singen and An Sylvia, both by Schubert. And these, you could go, they've remastered the whole thing. Barbara's added some new liner notes. They've probably spruced up the packaging. If you go on Amazon.com now, you could hear some samples of the music, and you could hear how good the remastering is. And you could hear a little bit of An Sylvia and Auf dem Wasser zu singen if you so desire. I know some of you like to wait to experience the new stuff fresh, but if you can't wait and you want, 25 seconds of a song you never heard sung by Barbara, go to Amazon and place your order, because Classical Barbra is a wonderful album. It's a really, for those fans who maybe have never heard it before or have been hesitant to get it because they think it's kind of, arty or, above their heads. No. See, Barbara made a point when she did Classical Barbra to not sing like a classical singer. She sang songs in her voice. She didn't try to be Beverly Sills. She didn't try to be, Joan Sutherland. She tried to sing like Barbra Streisand and adapt these songs to her voice. She sang a lot of German Lieder, which one of my favorite songs on that album is called Verschwiegene Liebe, which translates into My Secret Love. She sings a beautiful song called Bonsoir. Intrutina is magnificent. Maybe one of the best things on the album is called a vocalise, and that's called Pavan. And a vocalise means the singer doesn't actually sing any words. They just glide along with the melody or provide a counter melody using their voice and applying syllables, do 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 brilliant. It's a beautiful piece of music. If you've ever not experienced the joy of classical Barbra, I urge you to do it now, because this is a wonderful album. I'm really glad that Barbra has agreed to put this out again in a remastered format with the 2 extra songs, and that she herself says that she's always had a great fondness for classical Barbra, because so have I. So that's the classical Barbra story. Now, we know that upcoming we have the Oscars. Clearly, Guilt Trip was not nominated for anything. I doubt we'd see Barbra and Seth appearing to present an award. However, there have been a couple of rumors, and again, this is just rumors, guys. One is that Barbra might be asked to present Best Song because it's very, very, very likely that Adele will win for the Skyfall song from the James Bond movie. And Barbra, as she did when she gave Catherine Bigelow the Oscar as Best Director for The Hurt Locker, Barbra likes to, encourage, promote, other women who have succeeded in the business. And Adele winning the Oscar would be a big deal. So it would be like, hey, sister, go sister. Now, Barbra, as you know, was the first female composer to ever win the Oscar for Best Song. Prior to Barbra, there had been a couple of lyricists that had been honored, but never somebody who wrote the melody. Now, since then, we've had a few. Carly Simon, I think, and I think Bonnie Raitt. There have been a couple since Barbra, but Barbra was the first. Barbra loves being the first, by the way. She loves being the youngest to ever win something, the first to ever win something, the first to ever get all the major awards by a certain age. If you read through her biography on the BarbraStreisand.com site, it's mind-boggling how amazing her career has been. Now, the other rumor about the Oscars, which I don't really buy into, is that she might do the tribute to Marvin Hamlish that she did at the Back to Brooklyn concert, Through the Eyes of Love and The Way We Were. But I don't think that's likely. This past week they announced that they're going to do a salute to musicals on the Oscars. And they're going to be doing it from just the last 10 years. So you're going to see things from Chicago, Hairspray, Mamma Mia, maybe, although I don't think it was a very good musical, definitely Les Mis. And they're going to stage it, and they're going to try to get they're going to probably give it like a, 8 to 10 minute segment. Barbra's segment on Marvin Hamlish alone would be about 6 or 7 minutes. And the Oscars are always very time sensitive because they're always worried about going over, people tuning out, not wanting to go past midnight, whatever. I don't think Barbra's going to do the Marvin Hamlish tribute. Now, excuse me. What I do think is if they are doing a salute to movie musicals, Barbra might be the person to host it, to introduce it, to talk about the movie musical. And knowing Barbra, she would relate it to herself. And if she does, and they show, for example, a clip from Funny Girl or Yentl or A Star is Born, don't be surprised if Barbra then turns around and says, and I'm looking forward to my next musical, Gypsy. It would be the perfect way to let about 1 billion people around the world know that her next movie was going to be a musical. Now, that's my idea. If I have already scooped their idea, sorry guys. If I haven't scooped your idea, take the idea! Run with it! Use it! It makes so much sense! And Barbra's got a really tight relationship with the executive producers, Craig Zadan and Neil Maron. They did Serving in Silence together. They've done some other projects together. those guys love Barbara, and Barbara loves those guys. So, take my idea, please. Now, one of my new favorite segments on Sunday with Ally is memorabilia. By the way, I'm accepting names for the memorabilia section of the show. So if somebody wants to call, write in with your ideas on what we should be calling this, the way they were, the way it was, the stuff I've got, a stuff is born, whatever. Share your ideas with me. I'm sure you'll be much more creative than I've been off the top of my head. But here's a few items. Let's start with this. You guys may or may not recognize this. Let me hold it open. This is called Barbra Streisand Unauthorized Biography. This little booklet, and what I did is, I used to work at a library, and this is called Pam binding. And it's just a way of putting a nice solid binder and a laminated cover on your something paper. Anyway, this little booklet was one of the first Barbra biographies after Spada's The First Decade. And you had to go through Rhoda Barrett's Hollywood to get it. And now this is a picture from the way we were premiere. And it's loaded with, great little book. God, I'm really being klutzy here. Great photos of Barbara through the years. Not a lot of, the text is okay. Mostly it's just a fun little book. But I think it's a bit of a rarity because I don't think this is pretty hard to come by. Because I actually bought it, God, I don't even know what year it came out. Probably let's see. It's got to be, the pictures only go up to The Way We Were. Actually, it's 74. I just threw it on the floor. Hold on a second. There it is. All better. Oh my goodness. You guys must think I'm the klutz of all time. Anyway, let's talk some more memorabilia, shall we? And forget about that. This is a postcard. It's dated 1967. Personality profiles, personality posters. This postcard was also a poster that you could get on places like Times Square and some record shops. And it's a great image of Barbara. It's actually from the second album. For some reason they didn't do a more current photo of her. But it's quite a rarity, this poster card, and it's pretty cool. And by the way, this is my friend John McCachran's copy. He lent it to me. So now this is a fun little item. This is a checkbook from the Barbra Streisand Collecting Guide. Now this was created by Tom Gallion, who did Just Like Butter, the magazine. And what Tom did in his cleverness is he put together a checklist. Let me hold it up here. So you could go through, if you were a collector, and see, what videos, what audios you needed, what television guest appearances Barbara had done that you might want to get on video. It was a really nicely done little pamphlet. And again, this was done in 1995. So it's probably kind of hard to come by, but it's still a very cute little item. And who knows, if Tom is listening out there, put a couple of these up for sale on eBay, and I bet you they're going to go like hotcakes. Now, this is a really interesting item, I think. As you know, they put out sheet music and songbooks for Barbra Streisand movies. This one came out, oh gosh, I don't know, probably 1968. This is the Funny Girl songbook. And as you can see, the artwork is slightly different. It's got a yellow background. I love this image here, this sort of very Art Deco kind of silhouette of Nick and Fanny. And what's interesting about this book songbook is that it includes not only pictures, which you can see there, but it includes the songs and from both the stage show and the movie. So if you were looking, for example, for, let's see, Coronet Man, and you didn't have the sheet music, if you buy this, you'll get it. And a lot of people want the sheet music from the original stage show. This is a great item to have. Again, I'm sure people are selling it on eBay. It's a nice collectible to have. And I don't actually play music, so for me, I just bought it for the pictures and the artwork. But it's a very cool item, don't you think? Now, finally, I wanted to talk to you guys about the future. Very serious here. Now that Barbra Memories has seemingly been bought by most people who are interested in it, and the people who are interested in getting the souvenir copy that was offered on Kickstarter, if you haven't received your copy of that yet, please email me and I will place the order and send you the souvenir copy. The souvenir copy is smaller, it's not in color. If you already have the big, beautiful color Barbra Memories, you may not even want the souvenir book, and that'll save me a few bucks not having to send it to you. But if you want it, if you pledged, and if you want to collect it, just email me. I'll make a list, I'll order the books, and I'll send them out, okay? But the serious stuff, I am thinking about doing another Barbra project. And it's actually something that I've already begun working on. It is a decade by decade biography of Barbra. Now, as I told you recently, I was a little bit upset that there was no 50th anniversary celebration for Barbra. So I decided I was going to do one. And it's going to be a 6x9 book, all color, decade by decade, a review of Barbra's life and her artistry, mostly what she's done. And it will go through 2012 and the beginning of 2013. But before I commit to this, I would like to know the interest level. A book like this will cost about $25, including shipping. I know that's a little bit high, but self-publishing costs that much, unfortunately. And I don't want to do an electronic version of the book because I think people like to hold things in their hands. And I know I'm very old-fashioned when I say that. But before I start, or before I, commence, please share with me what you think of the idea. As you know, I have these terrible medical expenses. This would be a way for me to raise money, so you'd be doing a good thing by buying a copy of the book. But before I get into it, I really want to know the interest, the level of interest amongst the fans, amongst the people who are watching Sunday with Ally. So before I commit, write me, email me. You can email me at BARBFILE @AOL.com or through YouTube, and let me know what you think, okay? And wow, we did it again. Look at that, 24 minutes, folks. Until next week, this is Ally Waldman, and I'm going to sign off, and I'm going to hopefully feel better. And I hope you guys have a great week, and I hope you feel better. And for the folks who are stuck in the frigid north, keep warm. Layers, layers. And until next week, when I hopefully will have some more great news, this is Ally Waldman saying bye-bye.